So let's start lying down if that feels comfortable for you. And we're just going to do a little bit of centering before we get moving. So feel free to, be seated or take any other shape that works better for you if it does. And just have, I think probably just a little prop like a block or a cushion or something like that. You can have that just handy. And we'll lay down. So I'm in constructive rest pose. I've got my knees bent, feet on the floor, and the knees are just falling together. And you can see if it feels comfortable for you to put one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart. You can close your eyes or soften your gaze and just take some really nice deep breaths. You could do that in through your nose and out through your mouth. Just kind of notice where the breath is going. If you feel it a bit more in your chest or your belly, or it's moving into both places evenly, just kind of noticing. And if there's any tension on the surface that you could drop, just go ahead and let that go so that the breath can really move freely. And I'm just going to invite you to take a moment to notice your relationship with your body today, specifically your postpartum body. So, this body that has been through some things, some wonderful, some maybe not so wonderful. And just notice how you're relating to yourself. Noticing things like the expectations you have for your body, the ways in which you listen or don't listen to your body, the ways in which you may push your body or rest or care for your body. And just noticing whatever it is that's there is okay. It's just where you're at right now. And see if you can find a thank you. Just thanking your body if you can and noticing what it feels like to say thank you. And noticing if there's anything that your body would like to say to you. Beautiful. Okay. So from here, let's move a little bit. So when you're ready, you can take your feet nice and wide if they're not already, and start to wash your knees from side to side like windshield wipers. You can open your arms up nice and wide and rock your head away from your knees. Just moving as fast or as slow as feels good in your body right now, but with your breath. Okay, And then from here, you can draw your knees in towards you, give yourself a little hug, maybe a little rock from side to side. And you can extend your legs and your arms up to the sky and just take a few little circles with your ankles and your wrists. And then reverse the direction of the circle. And then place the feet back down on the mat so that the heels are just in front of the sit bones or the outer hips of spine. So knees just pointing up to the sky. Take a big inhale, and as you exhale, gather your pelvic floor in and up. And then as you inhale, soften that, relax. Exhale, gather your pelvic floor in and up. So as if you were picking up a blueberry with your vagina and drawing it into your body. And then on the inhale, you are not pushing it down, but just releasing, just letting it go. I'm just doing that a couple more times, gently lifting that blueberry. And then releasing the blueberry. And one more time. And relax. Take a couple of breaths just to feel that. So just saying hello to the pelvic floor muscles, which are a really important part of the core. And then we're going to add on to that a little bit. So you can place your middle fingers on your hip points and your thumbs on your ribs. You can take a moment to gather your pelvic floor in and up, and then gather the 4 points together. So there's this feeling that you are gathering in, and you want to feel that your belly button is scooping back and up towards your heart, keeping your back neutral for now. You can stay here or interlace your fingers around behind the back of the head and lift your shoulder blades up off the mat. So just making sure again that your belly is not popping forward. Okay. And then as you inhale, pick up your right foot. And as you exhale, put it down. Inhale, lift up your left foot. And as you exhale, put it back down. So just marching side to side, keeping the 4 points of the hip points and the low ribs gathering in together. Just moving nice and slow with your breath. And if this is feeling quite easy, if you're feeling like you've got a little more in you and you want to make this a little bit more challenging, you can extend your legs up to the sky and slowly lower one at a time. So how low the leg goes, you can also play with a little bit. So the lower down, generally, the more work you're going to be doing in your core. So just finding that place where you feel like there's some resistance, there's a little bit of work, but it's not feeling stressful and you're not getting that popping forward of the belly button. So keeping that belly drawing in and up is really important here. And if this is still feeling really good and you've got a little more in you here, you could add a little bit of a twist. So that's, I'm bringing my left elbow to my right knee. So you're twisting towards the leg that's closer to your face. And that's just going to add your obliques in a little bit as well. So you're activating quite a few of the areas of your core. And again, if this becomes painful, it becomes too much, if it starts to feel stressful, you can go back a step or two or just take a rest. Good. I'm just going to try for 2 more each side. Often find working on a strong core is actually helpful for me in feeling strong in myself. Okay, when you're ready, we can relax. You can draw your knees in. Maybe take them wide into, say, a happy baby, soles of the feet to the sky. Just breathing into your belly and noticing how that feels. So when we're kind of dealing with some stuff, which as moms, there's a lot to deal with, it can help to just stimulate that place at the center where we kind of get our ability to stand up for ourselves, advocate for our kids, the things that we need to do, that strength, that inner strength. I often find it gets a little extra juice when I do a bit of core. Okay. So you can go ahead and release your feet. And actually, I think we're going to come back to this block. Let's keep moving. So let's roll over to one side and come to our hands and our knees. And we'll stretch out a little bit here. So you can have your fingers spread under your shoulders, or you could be on fists or even fingertips. So you don't have to put a lot of weight on your hands. And if you're more comfortable seated, seated works too. We're going to come into cat and cow. So inhaling into a little bit of a back bend, and you'll feel those core muscles getting a little bit of a stretch. And then as you exhale, gathering in, spreading the space between the shoulder blades. And just moving with your breath. So inhaling into a little bit of a back bend, allowing the belly to stretch. And exhaling to curl. And then feel free to add to this anything that feels right to you. So you could make a circle or move side to side. You could shift your hips around. You could roll your neck. So it can be nice to close the eyes and just really follow your breath. So nice. And then if you'd like to take this into a downward dog, you could. So you could walk your hands forward, pick up your hips, and it's just that same kind of quality, but in a different shape. So you could be bending one knee at a time, swaying your hips, just kind of exploring and seeing if this shape feels good for you. And if at any point it feels stressful or uncomfortable, just come back down to your knees. Beautiful. And then you can release your knees to the earth and come all the way to your belly. And then take your arms into a little cactus shape here so that the forearms are on the ground. Press the tops of the feet down, pubic bone down. And as you inhale, lift up any amount. It doesn't have to be high. And as you exhale, come down. So this is probably one of my favorite things to do when my lower back is feeling a little bit unhappy. It's a really nice therapeutic movement, just coming in and out, kind of squeezing and releasing the lower back sometimes helps it to just come back into balance, reset itself. It can feel really nice. And again, just moving with the breath. Okay, and we'll take one more, and if it feels good, we can hold. So think drawing the shoulders down, long neck, and the belly and the chest are kind of lengthening forward. So sometimes it helps to think heavy elbows. And then gently release all the way down to the earth and just take a little moment there. You can relax the heels apart, take a deep breath into the belly. And then we can move all the way back to downward facing dog. And we'll just use that as a transition. So from downward dog, we can walk the feet to the hands, coming into a standing forward bend. And you can take your feet as wide as you want them. Classically, it's hips distance, but it could be wider. You can bend your knees and rest your elbows on the knees, or you could hang down, letting your head relax, and continuing to explore a little bit. So I find sometimes it feels so good just to bend one knee at a time. It just actually opens the outer hips a little bit. Just feels really nice in the outer legs. So feel free to explore that. Maybe you're shaking the head, letting go a little bit of neck or jaw tension there. And then we'll roll up just as slow as you want to go. So you can bend your knees a lot, lean back into your heels, and let your head and shoulders be really heavy as you rise. If this doesn't feel safe, bend the knees, look forward, and just come on up. When you get to the top, you can roll your shoulders onto your back. And just take a moment to notice how you're standing. So soften your knees a little bit. Allow the weight of your pelvis to sink back a little bit over your heels, stacking your ribs over your hips, and bringing your chin parallel to the earth. And just notice if anything releases when you stand like that, like your jaw or your belly. Okay, so we're going to move a little bit. Just standing here at the top of your mat, let's get into our breath. So next time you inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. And as you exhale, fold forward over your legs. Lengthen up halfway, draw your heart forward. And as you exhale, completely fold over your legs. Bend your knees, follow your inhale up. So looking forward, arms can go wide and up to the sky. And then hands together at the heart. Good, inhaling, reaching the arms wide and up to the sky again. Exhale and dive. Lengthen up halfway. And gently fold. Bend the knees, look forward, rising all the way up. You can back bend a little bit at the top if you want. And bring the hands together in front of your heart. Inhale, really filling the lungs. And dive. Lengthen. And melt. And the knees rising all the way up. Hands come together at the heart. So let's keep flowing, but we'll add on a little bit. Reaching the arms up to the sky. And then dive. Lengthen up halfway, and then we'll step the right foot back, and you can put the knee down. Feel free to put some padding under it if you need to. And you could also just do a high lunge if being in a low lunge doesn't work for you. I'm going to come up, square the hips forward, draw the tailbone down a little bit, and then press the hips forward until you feel that nice stretch in your front thigh. And then reach your arms up. Okay, gather your front ribs in a little bit. So it's not a big back bend here. If anything, the focus is on lengthening the tailbone and pressing the hips forward. And then bend your right elbow, holding onto it with your left hand. Press up into it and gently side stretch to the left. Breathing into your right side belly, psoas. This is one of those areas that can get kind of compressed when we're sitting a lot or just not taking the time to kind of breathe. Okay, and then come up through center, gently release your hands. We'll straighten the front leg. So I'm untucking my back toes, and if you have blocks, you can use them here. You don't need them necessarily. You can just be up on fingertips, or you could use whatever props work for you. And we're just going to work with a little bit of breath here. So that front foot is flexed. You're going to inhale and lengthen the heart forward, and exhale to fold. So it doesn't have to be a big movement. Just lengthening on the inhale, melting on the exhale. So just again, following your breath, letting that back line of your body release. Okay, and then when you're ready, we'll look forward, bend into that front leg, pick up the back knee, and softly step back up to the top of your mat. Lengthen halfway. Exhale to fold, and then bend your knees and rise all the way up to standing, reaching the arms up to the sky. And then we're going to dive right back down towards the earth. So just keep following the breath. Lengthen up halfway and step the left foot behind you. Again, lower the knee down. You're welcome to pad it if that helps. Just keeping that front knee over the ankle, reaching your arms up. And again, the focus here is tailbone down, hips forward. So I'm hoping you're feeling the stretch in the quadricep of the left leg. Okay, ribs draw in a little bit, and then bend your left elbow, hold on to it with your right hand, and just softly side stretch to the right. This is also a stress area, okay, psoas, and kind of side body here. So when there's been a lot going on, a lot of the time we kind of tighten into the belly and the psoas. And so even just stretching this area can help to calm the nervous system, which, you know, we need, everybody needs it. Being a parent is really, can be really stressful. So just breathing into this area can help to rebalance things. Okay, and then up through center, let's gently release the hands. We'll straighten the front leg. You can untuck those back toes if you want. You can use the blocks if you want. You could even have your hands on the inside of the leg if that's more comfortable. So flexing the foot, drawing the right hip back a little bit, and we just move with the breath a bit here. So on the inhale, we're lifting, and on the exhale, we're just melting. So again, allowing the breath to just flow through your body. The spine is kind of waving, but don't worry about what it looks like or how deep you're going. It should feel good. Let's take one more. Okay, and then when you're ready, you'll look forward, tuck into those back toes, pick up the knee, and again, softly step up to the top of the mat. Lengthen and fold. And then let's, you can sweep up in one breath or roll up, whatever feels better for you. I'm gonna roll up, just take a couple breaths to do that. Shoulders back. Again, noticing how you're standing and seeing if there's a way to make that just 2% more comfortable, easier. Beautiful. Okay, let's turn to face the long edge of the mat and take the feet nice and wide, so maybe a leg's length or so. And I'll mirror you for this part, so hopefully I'll get it right. So we're going to turn the right toes out to the right. Left toes can turn in a little bit. We're coming into a warrior two. So we want the knee again over the ankle. And I'm just lengthening my stance a little bit. I quite like this little bit of a stretch that comes into this back hip when I lower that hip just slightly. Okay, we'll open the arms up, press the front knee back a bit so that it's right over the ankle, and then make stop signs with your hands, like that, pushing. Press forward through the heels of your hands, draw the shoulders on your back and straighten your elbows. There's quite a stretch into the forearms that you will likely feel there. If you don't feel it yet, spread your fingers a little bit more and also take the hands a little bit slightly back. And then circle the wrists. That can be really powerful wrist medicine. Good. Okay, place your elbow on your thigh. And this top hand, you can have your hand on your hip, you could reach it up, or try taking the bicep alongside the ear. Again, tuck your tailbone a little bit here, so you're kind of pressing your hips forward. Twist your heart open towards the sky and really press from the outer arch of your left foot through your left fingertips. You could even hold your head with your left hand, and that'll actually add your shoulder a bit. So another side bend, again, getting into that area where you can kind of breathe and release a bit of stress. So good. Okay, let's gently release that, look down, come up through center, and we'll just switch sides. So you're gonna turn those right toes in a little bit, left toes out. Warrior two to begin. So the knee just bends over the ankle, pressing it back a little. Back hip lowers slightly, nice and tall through the spine, just neutral spine. Open your arms up. Okay, and this time we're gonna do a little bit of movement. So on the inhale, we have that stop sign shape. So like that, and then on the exhale, we're gonna curl the fingers down and stretch the backs of the wrists a bit. Inhale, press forward through the heel of the hand, spread the fingers. Exhale, uncurl. Inhale, open. One more. Good, and then circle the wrists. I'm going to stay in this shape. Bring your elbow to your thigh and find a place that works for you for this top hand. So hand on hip, up, or bicep alongside the ear, which is where I'm going. Drawing that tailbone down, ribs a little bit in, and there's a twist of the spine up to the sky, really puffing up along that right side waist. And you could hold your head as well with your right hand so that your neck can relax and you're actually just opening your shoulder a little bit more too. Really strong through your back legs. So you're pressing down through the outer arch of that foot. So good. Gently release your hand, look down, come back up. Straighten your legs and turn all of the toes to face the long edge of the mat so that we're parallel. Interlace your fingers around behind your back, or you could hook your thumbs, or you could grab a strap. Those are all good options. Okay, hug the elbows together, shoulders together, press the fist down and let your chest open to the sky. You may or may not tip your chin up. Just allow the chest to open, the shoulders to open. And you can stay right here, or you can add a forward fold. So bending your knees a little bit, tipping your heart down and letting the fist rise to the sky. So nice. Gently release your hands down the outsides of your legs to the earth. Take a little halfway lift and heel toe your feet in together until you're in just a regular standing forward bend with your feet about hips distance apart. Take a halfway lift. Gently fold, relax your head. And then just walk yourself so that you're facing the short edge of your mat again, so you're kind of reoriented to facing forward, and bring your knees down. I like my knees just a bit wider than my hips here, and I'm keeping my toes tucked under. Stick the bum up a little bit, walk your fingertips forward and melt your heart back towards your thighs. So this one's called Anahatasana, or heart melting pose. Sometimes it's called puppy dog pose. And I find it's really nice for getting into that upper back area where I just have so much tension from just carrying my little guy, you know, looking down all the time, all that stuff. I find this feels so nice. And I'm just rocking a little bit from side to side as well. And then we can settle back into child's pose. So releasing the toes, letting the hips drop back towards the heels, and relaxing the forehead to the ground. You can certainly keep your hands in front of you. You can also bend the elbows, taking the thumbs to the back of the neck, or you could rest your hands beside your hips. So any of those is perfect. And just take a few deep breaths into your back body. And we're going to transition from here to laying on our back. So you can come to your belly and flip over, or you can sit up on your heels and swing your legs to one side to come down onto your back. Okay, and then take thread the needle. So right ankle comes to the left thigh. Hold on to the back of the left thigh and just gently hug in. So these hip muscles can contribute to sciatica and all kinds of other things. It's really beneficial to release them. And I find especially if we just rock them a bit from side to side. So nice. And then we'll gently release that and switch sides. So you can do the windshield wipers, or I often like to just actually shake my legs out in between sides. And then when you're ready, the left ankle comes to the right knee. We're hugging in. Both feet are flexed. I find that's helpful for protecting the knees. And you could also explore just that little rock from side to side. I find it kind of massages the area a little bit, and we can get slightly different muscles when we move side to side a little bit as well. So just check that out for yourself. It may or may not feel like the right thing for you to do. For some people, just this, just doing thread the needle every day is like the difference between feeling good in their day or not. It can be quite a magical pose depending on what's going on. Beautiful. And then we'll gently again release that. And you might give your legs a shake or a windshield wiper. Both are great. And then when you're ready, I'll get you to take that block or cushion or whatever you have. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, just a little bit of elevation is fine. And we're just going to lift the bum up and place that prop underneath the back of the pelvis. Okay, so right on that kind of bony shelf at the back of the hips. And you can play a little bit with pushing it a bit away from you, bringing it in a little closer just to find that place that feels comfortable for you. And you can stay here or you can widen your feet a bit and let the knees fall together. And just start to focus on really breathing softly into your belly. So this pose is called supported bridge, but it's not really a back bend. It's more of an elevation for the pelvis. And I find that it's excellent for helping to release tension in that psoas area that we've been talking about a little bit today. And I also find postpartum, it's really helpful for just taking pressure off the pelvic floor. So if you have issues like prolapse or pelvic floor issues, which many of us do, or if your if your organs are just a little smooshed from being pregnant, which can happen, this is a really nice way of just kind of lengthening this area and allowing everything to kind of come back to where it's meant to be. And all you really have to do is just breathe into your belly. So just relax and kind of allow the pose to do its medicine. You might especially pay attention to the bottom of the exhale. And this is a beautiful place to stay for quite a while. If it's comfortable for you, you can stay like 20 minutes. It's a nice comfortable pose. And it's appropriate for Shavasana if it feels really relaxing and comfortable for you. Um, Otherwise, we'll make our way into a Shavasana. So you can gently lift the hips, move the prop out of the way, and find just a really comfortable position to rest in. So that might be laying flat on the mat. It might be putting a bolster or something between underneath your knees. You could also lay on your side or just however is most comfortable for you. I'm going to stay here for a little bit longer myself. I quite like this one. And just really receiving the work of our practice. Taking a moment to notice just how you're feeling right now. How the way you feel inside might be a little bit different now from how it felt when we began our practice. Again, noticing if you can find a thank you for your body. And noticing if there's anything that your body would like to communicate to you. And then when you feel quite ready, you can deepen your breath again. You can begin to wiggle your toes and fingers. Maybe take a stretch. Gather in your knees and gently roll over to one side. And then press yourself up to a seat. You can place hand on heart, hand on belly, or maybe hands are on baby. And just take a moment to really thank yourself for showing up to your practice, honoring and acknowledging the long and complex lineage of teachers that are with us in our practice, and honoring the sacredness of the land that we practice on. Thank you for sharing that.